It's so intense and so graphic,
Mm.
and all of the like wet noises and
You know what it was for me? It was like the skin bubbling up, like the pointing, and like, oh my god. Ooh, wait, no.
listen.
Listen.
Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. What?
Ooh, how you doing?
Oh, that you did a little riff.
Oh yeah, well, I did.
You
I've
went,
been.
ooh.
I sang today. It's been a
Okay.
minute. It's been a minute.
It has?
Well, I mean, I sing at home, but like singing in public, it had been like I sang
Right.
for my class today to like give an example of something.
How did that go?
Good. I mean, you know, they receive it how they receive it. I'm not stressed about that. But you know what's
Okay.
interesting
Yes.
is singing is very vulnerable. I think it's very expressing yourself in that way. I have this weird thing where I play back the whole tape and I can't let go of it.
That's you.
She said, "You're just neurotic."
That's not the singing, friend.
She said, "You're the only person that does that."
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you did it with singing, but I also know you enough to know that you do it with everything.
Everything. I go to sleep and I'm literally thinking back the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Well, I'm sure it was delightful. I'm proud of you for it's not easy to put yourself out there like that, especially with students, where you're like, oh God, are they going to be judging me?
I know, but
you know, bring it.
You better, because like I'm up there giving you feedback, telling you how to do what. You better be comfortable doing it in front of them, and also get some feedback and be judged, as it were. Me too.
Well, that's kind of nice about it, is that you're showing them like, look, we're all vulnerable, we're all open to share where we're at, we all have room to grow, and I think that's really positive.
That's right. Hello and welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says Demi Moore, Demi Moore, Demi Moore. I'm DeLon Grit. I'm an actor, a singer, photographer, writer, and an educator.
And I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm an actress, producer, writer, and graphic designer. And class, as DeLon is doing that Britney Spears alludes to, the film that we are talking about today has us asking, oh, Demi, what was I supposed to know? But you would be so naked.
It's so good.
DeLon, you really fucking ate with this one. If you can't tell, DeLon wrote this episode. He really set me up. So thank you very much. The film earned the aforementioned Demi Moore the Best Actress.
She went down to Britney and Britney came back up.
He said, "You make fun of me, bitch. I'll snatch your vocal cords." We love you, Brit. Okay. The film earned the aforementioned Demi Moore the Best Actress Golden Globe, a SAG Award, a Critics' Choice Award, as well as her first Academy Award nomination. Today we are unpacking The Substance. DeLon, I am so excited to talk to you about this film.
I mean, Fran, genuinely could not wait to talk to you about this film. It took the life of me not to text you during it. And at one point, I had such a freak out watching this movie. Yeah. Bitch, I was screaming, and so much so that I had to pause it because I was like, you know what Fran would tell me to do? To record a reaction video. So I brought my camera, which we'll post on social, but I freaked the fuck out.
Okay, well, you know what's so funny, DeLon? I watched this movie, wait for it, the night of the fucking fires, and I didn't know the fires were happening. So my phone was on Do Not Disturb while I was watching this movie. I turned off Do Not Disturb. My phone was like,
Armageddon!
I was so stressed after I finished watching this movie, which I loved it. But this movie had me going through all the fucking emotions. And then I was like, do I need to leave my house? I don't have a to-go bag. It was so stressful. I went outside and I could see the fucking fires from the outside. Oh my God, it was so stressful.
Well, because the film is clearly meant, is charged for us to feel something viscerally. So
Yes.
the idea that you're also like existential crisis around you is crazy.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
this movie is fucking crazy. It's labeled as a body horror film. Friend, had you ever heard that genre?
So I had heard of this genre before because of like the Saw films are also
Oh, and you love a
considered.
Saw film.
No, I hate a Saw film.
Wait, what was it? You love one of those films though. What is the
No,
No?
I like things that are thriller and like cerebral, but psychological. I usually do not like a lot of gore. And when I heard that this was a body horror, I was like, I don't know if I could do it. But I had so many friends say it's intense, but it's worth it. And going into award season, it was the day after the Golden Globes that the fires happened, and I watched the movie, and I watched Demi Moore win the Golden Globe, and I was like, I need to watch this movie.
I'd never heard of this fucking genre.
Yeah. Do you want to explain? Yeah.
Yeah. Classic body horror is a subgenre of horror that uses grotesque or psychologically disturbing depictions and violations of the human body, such as mutilation, mutations, zombification. That's what I was thinking of. You're a big Walking Dead fan.
Yes.
Zombification, disease, or gratuitous violence, which in this film, spoiler, there are a lot of them coming. It manifests in a younger, hotter version of the protagonist, Demi Moore, mutating, and a version of her literally crawling out of her fucking back.
Oh yeah,
I was screaming.
Yeah, it's so intense and so graphic, and all of the like wet noises and.
You know what it was for me? It was like the skin bubbling up, like the pointing, and like, oh my God.
And all of the close-up shots. And you know what? That stuff, the supercuts of things kind of reminded me of Requiem for a Dream. The way things were like paced really fast and like
the editing of it. Yes.
Yeah. So we watch Demi Moore's character, Elizabeth Sparkle, go from 50 years old to I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. Delon, you really packing in these fucking Britney references. So Delon, what do you say? Let's dive in. This is The Substance. Let me fix it.
So what we are doing now, friends, just up front, we're letting you know before we dig in, we have a YouTube channel. Tap in to see these lovely faces every week, youtube.com/@fixitpod, or there's always a link in the episode description so you can get it there. Also, if you have a tagline idea for the pod, welcome back to Let Me Fix It. This is a podcast that says, insert your Britney Spears impression, right? Please email us a voice note, letmefixitpod@gmail.com, and we might use it in the show.
And remember, this season is all about movies, which means there are lots of spoilers. So if The Substance has been on your must-watch list, which I'm going to say you really should watch it, and you haven't gotten to it yet, please hit pause and come back when you're ready for the Let Me Fix It tea, because we are about to go in. We are brewing this baby.
Okay. So we meet Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, on her 50th birthday as she's wrapping up an episode of her well-known exercise TV show. If you're a millennial, you'll probably remember celebs doing like these endorsements of exercise classes and videos and products in the 80s and 90s. Think Suzanne Summers and Thigh Master, or Chuck Norris and Bowflex. So
I can't believe you didn't put Jane Fonda in here. Jane Fonda,
the queen, who invented it. Fran, you're so right.
The fucking queen, especially considering Jane Fonda was a serious actress. I feel like these types of things were reserved for a quote unquote has-been.
Yes.
Like you couldn't hack it in Hollywood, so now you're slinging VHSs. And Jane Fonda was like, no, I got the talent and the body.
And you know why she did that? She did that to start raising money for something political too. Like she used her celebrity, obviously, right? Jane Fonda, the brand is strong.
Always been that girl, yeah.
Right. So Elizabeth Sparkle is a famous Hollywood starlet who is just past her prime, which I feel uncomfortable saying, but it is what it is in the film. She's distraught after overhearing her very gross TV producer, Harvey, played by actor Dennis Quaid, how he plans to replace her with a younger woman. Elizabeth gets distracted while driving home when she sees an enormous billboard with her face on it being torn down. So you see all of these things are crumbling around her. This distraction costs nearly cost her life because she gets into this like major car accident because she's looking at this billboard.
And look, we are going to gush about this film because obviously we really love it. But what I love about this moment, and this is something that too often doesn't happen well enough and is too on the nose, is it is showing you a metaphor, right? Like the metaphor of the billboard being taken down, her time is over. It's such a poignant way to, again, really encapsulate like the thesis of this film, right? Like what happens when you age out and you are no longer the star. I mean, it's a brilliant commentary on Hollywood.
Tearing you down.
A literal tearing down. Okay. So because this is fiction and the writers can create whatever story they want, Elizabeth walks away from the accident basically unscathed. However, while she's in the hospital, a creepily attractive nurse hands her a thumb drive saying that he thinks she would be a good candidate for a program called The Substance. She takes the drive, but decides against it until she sees an ad in the newspaper seeking a young woman to replace Elizabeth Sparkle on TV. She then purchases The Substance and retrieves a kit to start the process of becoming a younger version of herself. The Substance, however, comes with a ton of rules, warnings, and disclaimers. Now, Delon, this is the point where you're like, oh, she gonna fuck this up. Like,
I mean, it's inevitable. But can I just say, can we just put a pause? When you saw her unpack the starter kit and dig in, weren't you like, these instructions are sparse? It's just a card with a couple of notes on it.
Yeah, and as she's taking everything out of the box, it's like these weird injector tubes and like
syringes
and like a bag with saline dripping. It's very strange. Like you're looking at it like, what could this possibly do? It's very confusing. So one major rule: the current you and the new you share your life, but only one can be awake at a time, and you must switch every 7 days. So you do 7 days a week awake and then 7 days asleep. And any more than that, and you upset the balance.
Right. Dun, 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 right? Setting up the rules.
This it's happening.
Okay. As sets up so many rules and parameters. This film sets up so many rules and parameters for taking the substance or the experience, as that like amorphous kind of disembodied voice calls it. So well that as a viewer, you're just waiting, like Fran and I were saying, for them to be broken. Another rule is that there's no separation between the two versions of yourself. The disembodied voice says, remember, you are one, right? And you wait for that to like be broken down with the characters. I personally felt like that was telling both versions of Elizabeth to take care of one another, right?
Yeah, in hindsight, that's definitely what was being said, and I didn't catch that.
Me either, until you like see the repercussions, right? So it was basically saying like adhere to the strict cycle, like Fran was saying, but also feed one another this stabilizing liquid, which is, so what happens is the original you falls asleep when it takes this activation serum to create the second version of you, and then as you're asleep so let me start again. So while the original is asleep, the other version gives them a stabilizing liquid intravenously. The younger version then draws or syringes that stabilizing fluid from the original person's spine, like a spinal tap, and then gives themselves that injection to stabilize themselves every day. So without that stabilizing fluid, the newer version of you can't sustain itself. It eats like normal, but like it's something, whatever the, however the substance works, that is the substance, right, to keep you alive.
And just to be clear, because I'm not sure if we said it or not, but when Demi's character Elizabeth takes the substance, she like passes out in her bathroom, and then her back opens up and a younger, hotter version of herself climbs out of her body. And this is the body horror. You see every vertebrae like pop open and the skin peel back, and this beautiful, supple, young starlet climb out of her back, who coincidentally, did you know this, that her mother...
Yeah, it's in here.
Okay, you're going to talk about it. Okay. So to get we already did this to get to the process rolling.
Wait, the one thing I want to ask you, Fran, about the intravenous shot. So like, Demi Moore's character Elizabeth has to give herself a shot, and then they each have to like tap a vein to give it this stabilizing liquid.
The
I mean, first
answer
of all,
is no.
unsanitary.
Absolutely no.
Unsanitary. Could you give
No.
yourself? I couldn't even find the vein. I mean, they take
No.
my blood at the hospital and I'm passing out.
Oh God. Oh yeah. And I'm not bad with needles, but I can't look while the person is taking my blood. I can't look at it. I need to look the other way. I don't want to know. It's just too much for me. Yeah, I would absolutely not do this. The other reason I wouldn't do this is like, the appeal of like being a younger, hotter version of yourself. Like that seems, I guess maybe there will be a time in my life where I will want that. But the fact that the old version of you goes to sleep naked in the bathroom while the other version is running around, I don't like that. I would want to be there. You fucking up my name. Like, what are you doing?
Right. I mean, why? Because you're also controlling, right? I see you. Me too.
Yes.
But I also, one of the things I thought was like, Demi's laying on the bathroom floor for 7 days. Elizabeth's on the floor for 7 days. I was like, her shoulder is fucked up. She said on her side. I was like, my shoulder would be fucked up.
Oh, she definitely seemed like sore and out of sorts when she comes back to her regular self. That process is taking, it's taking a lot out of you. So now, once again, single use.
Go back to get the process rolling to the activation thing.
Wait, go where? Oh, to get the process rolling. Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll skip the intravenous thing. That was my bad.
Yeah. So to get the process rolling and create this younger version of yourself, you have to inject yourself with this single-use activation liquid. Now, once again, this activation liquid takes effect. Elizabeth passes out and this younger version crawls out of her back, right? Once she is born, Elizabeth's new self, Sue, played by Nepo baby Margaret Qualley. She's the daughter of Andy McDowell. And dare I say, this is a Nepo baby I fuck with. I fuck with this one. I do.
I was like, when she came out her back, the stupidest sentence ever said in the history of the English language. She came out her back. I was like, who is this hoe? God damn.
She is stunning. Have you seen the series Made on Netflix?
No.
That is like her first big credit. It's fantastic. It's a drama about this young single mother played by Margaret Qualley who works as a maid. And it's just a really beautiful character study about poverty. And she does a phenomenal job. Look, she's got a different last name. So maybe that was her trying to distance herself. But to her credit, she has never shy. She on the red carpet with mama. She's not doing the like, I've had to work harder. Like, she is a fantastic dancer. Yeah. She's also in, there is, I think it's like a Gucci ad. It's some like high fashion ad where she's dancing in the ad and she's doing like fucking modern dance, ballet, jumping off of fucking tables and stuff. I mean, she's the fucking total package. She's the real beautiful deal. She's the real deal. So I'm here for her. All right. So she comes out of the back and she hooks Elizabeth up to the stabilizing liquid and immediately auditions to replace Elizabeth on her exercise TV show. She books the job and becomes an overnight sensation. Now, when Sue's 7 days are up and Elizabeth returns to see that Sue is getting all this love and attention that Elizabeth longs for, it quickly affects her psyche and causes her to become a recluse.
Which is crazy. Beauty doesn't fix, right? Mm-hmm. So when Sue, the younger version, returns to see the evidence of Elizabeth's reclusive behavior, overeating and not leaving the house, she starts to loathe Elizabeth. Then, one night, just as it's about time to switch back, Sue brings a man home and breaks the 7-day switch rule. She takes one more stabilizing fluid from Elizabeth's spine so that she can have a few more hours. The repercussions of that extra time is irreversible rapid aging. Elizabeth wakes up and her index finger becomes bent and miscolored and old like a witch finger. And they showed this finger so many. They were like, we put all this practical
Remember this
money.
Finger? You remember this finger? Like, yes.
I mean, you see her clicking on the TV. You see that finger everywhere. So Elizabeth wakes up and she's distraught over her finger and what Sue has done. She considers terminating the experience, meaning killing Sue. But Sue's youth and success is just too addictive for her.
This sets off a fierce battle between Elizabeth and Sue. This is so well done because these two characters are fighting each other and they're never in the same fucking scene together.
Isn't that crazy?
And so like the writing is so well done here. Elizabeth dives further into her reclusive behavior and Sue starts taking more than her allotted stabilizing fluid, causing Elizabeth to continue rapidly aging. Her hair is falling out. She is bent over like a question mark. Her face has like liver spots on it. I mean, again, Demi is fully transforming in this film, and it is incredible to see. Everything comes to a head when Sue leaves Elizabeth in the stabilizing stasis for 3 months.
This was foul. This was fucking foul.
Oh, she puts her in a little closet. She's like, whatever, I don't give a fuck about this bitch. She just stuffs her in the closet, and she just this montage is so funny where
When
you
she
just see her
grabs the
coming.
mason jars.
You just see her coming back in and stealing the liquid and then running back. She's like, I'll be right back, guys. Hold on a second. She like runs in. She's like, fucking bitch. Let me just
And the sore on Elizabeth's back gets bigger and bigger and bigger because she keeps sticking that big ass needle in her spine.
Oh my God. So by the time that Elizabeth returns to the real world, she is a bald, hunchback, Gollum, Lord of the Rings looking motherfucker. And Sue, meanwhile, can no longer tap any more fluid from Elizabeth's spine, and she is forced to switch back. So, seeing that she's become disfigured, Elizabeth tries to end the experience by giving a sleeping Sue a termination liquid, but she can't bring herself to complete the task and revives Sue.
She like stabs her in the heart with the syringe thing, and they both survive and they're both awake.
I can't remember. Isn't it something like if she terminates, they both die? Is that why she didn't want to do it?
No, I think it's just that Sue dies. But the thing is that there's obviously no way to reverse all of the aging that Elizabeth experiences. But she has to stay like that. They keep saying, you can't go back. There's no going back. So once she stabs her in the heart and Sue wakes up and Elizabeth is awake, they're just staring at each other for a second. And then Sue sees that Elizabeth tried to end her. She sees like the termination syringe, and Sue gets up and starts whooping her ass. Sue, and she becomes like a Marvel character. She has she kicks her. She has extra
huge
fucking
fight scene
power, But class, remember the warning. Remember the warning that they got of the many rules. You are one. Sue is no different from Elizabeth. So Sue is about to host this big New Year's Eve special, but she's basically killed Elizabeth, right? So what happens is Sue's body starts to slowly deteriorate. This was fucking crazy. She started coughing, and then her tooth fell out, and then
her fingernail pops off.
But remember, one tooth fell out, and then she just starts pulling other ones out. I'm like, what are you doing?
Her ear falls off.
Fell off.
She's inside the elevator, and the guy's like, "How you doing?" And she's like,
can't hear him. No ear.
She can't. Ear gone, stressed out. Her vision is all messed up. Her teeth are all missing. And everyone's like, "Hey, Sue, how you doing?"
Can you give us a smile? So Sue's in panic mode. She has to go on TV. What the fuck does she do? So she remembers that there's a little bit of the activator fluid that Liz used to create her. So she goes, I'm going to run home and start the process again. But what is born out of Sue's back is this misfigured. Remember Sloth from the Goonies? That character? Yes. Sloth type Goonies being that is both Sue and Elizabeth, because it comes out of Sue's back and Elizabeth's face is on her back. Oh, it's crazy.
This is so gross, but here's what I love about this, and something we've talked about in a number of these movies that we've been reviewing. They really understood the rules of the world.
Yes.
They said, when I put the substance in me, I open up and another version comes out of me. But if now the younger version is going to use the substance, she's not really a person.
Right.
She is an amalgamation of Elizabeth. And so doing the substance again is going to have the adverse effects. And that's why this weird mutant comes out. I mean, she's got eyes that don't open, and
can't
she's
breathe.
Wet. She looks like a big exposed brain. It's just disgusting.
Well, also because like there isn't really enough activator fluid, right? That's why it's single use. So to your point, the rules are the rules.
Yes.
But I also thought there wasn't enough of that fluid. So,
yes.
class, this new version of them ends up cutting out a picture of Elizabeth's face because she's completely misfigured and she wants to go back to the New Year's Eve celebration to continue.
She's still so desperate for the spotlight.
Delusion, right? But she has to go back and she looks at her face and she's like, what am I going to do? Yo, at one point, she takes her earrings and just sticks it in her head. Remember that? Just sticks it right in her head. So
and the sound effects like
So she cuts out this picture of old Elizabeth's face, puts on some lipstick, and places it on her own face as she makes her way back to the New Year's Eve event. Back at the event, obviously what's going to happen is the posted photo falls off her face while she's standing in front of an entire audience. There's a moment where there's silence when she's heavily breathing into the mic, and then the audience just starts screaming in disgust. This part was disgusting, Fran. Then she starts coughing, and a breast is born out of the top of her head and falls on the stage. That took me out. Then a member of the audience who is freaked out attacks her, cuts her arm off, and then blood just starts spraying everywhere, all over everywhere. Now, it was disgusting. This is one thing I'll say about that. I appreciated like the kind of subliminal messaging and or like the I guess the theme of like blood is on everyone's hands. And even sprayed on the camera. And I was like, it's on it's all of us that contribute to like these beauty standards and such.
Damn, Delon, you are deep as hell, because I did not think about that. But I do think that that's what's being said here, because throughout the film, Sue is being placed on this pedestal and Elizabeth is just being treated like trash.
Yeah.
And the levels of like Dennis Quaid's character, I mean, Dennis Quaid has always been a very handsome man, but they make him fucking nasty in this.
The camera's so close, the fisheye so close to his face.
His skin is all tan and pockmarked and leathery, and he's all sweaty. And the way he talks about Elizabeth's body and her age, and the way that he talks about Sue, and there's all these, you know, revealing close-up shots of her butt and her crotch, and just it's very much, to me, a commentary on youth and beauty and the aging process. And so you're right, the blood on the hands is like Elizabeth. The irony is Demi Moore is 60 years old and she's playing a 50-year-old in the movie.
Go ahead, Demi Moore.
Go the fuck off. And she's butt-ass naked. Just giving you
in all her glory. I was like, yo, I mean, she to that point, she kind of had to do that. She didn't have to, but like it wouldn't have been as effective if she hadn't shown so much of her body compared to the other standard of beauty, the perfect, or the not perfect, but the
and she talked
the younger
about
version
that.
Comes out.
She talked about feeling nervous about doing that much nudity. And, you know, this is one of those times, to your point, it doesn't feel gratuitous. It's not just like, look at her naked body. Like it falls in line with what happens in the story, right? Like she is giving birth to this younger version of herself. So back to this New Year's Eve party where the audience has been sprayed with blood. This new being called Montroso Eloisu?
Monstroso Elisu, I think.
Elisu.
Like Elizabeth Sue Elisu.
Elizabeth Sue Elisu falls and smashes into a pile of mutated flesh as she tries to run from the chaos and mayhem that she has caused at this New Year's Eve event. Her pile of flesh lands right near Elizabeth Sparkle's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In a last desperate effort, Elizabeth's face, which grew on Monteresso Elisu's back in the second mutation, painfully slinks away from the pile of flesh to cover up her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and melts.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So now that we've gone over the synopsis and given some of our like general feelings about it, let's dig in as we normally do. Let's talk about like the themes of this movie, because one of the things I appreciate theater does this very well. Film doesn't always. Film
Yeah.
just like writes stories for the sake of entertainment or like, whatever. This has really strong themes. What are some of the themes that we've kind of talked about, a few of them that you pull out, Fran?
Yeah, I mean, one that comes to mind is the way that Hollywood builds you up and then tears you down.
Mm,
They put you on this pedestal and then the clock starts ticking and they are so quick to throw you out, and just get somebody to replace you.
mm.
And similarly, once Sue was in the spotlight, when she was on she was on set and she had been, out for too long and like a bump started growing on her
Oh,
butt or
yeah. I think that
something.
was a dream. That was a dream that she had when
I
she was
think
coming back.
no, I think that they were really had a butt, like a bump was because she had been out for too long. And so her body was doing
But
weird
do you remember
stuff.
remember she like pull like the butt thing, she slowly pulled it up her body and then randomly had a hole in her stomach and then pulled out a chicken bone or a chicken. Because it was, I think there was a dream because there was also the dream where she was being unzipped and all those organs fell out of
Mm.
her back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I interpreted it as you're on top right now, but we will easily replace your ass as soon as you are no longer,
Yes, I hear
beautiful and
that.
sparkling and perfect. And even the fact that it's like Elizabeth Sparkles, like she is
Yeah.
this, she's perfection until she's not perfection, and the fleetingness of beauty and age and how that should not be where you place all of your value and your power because it doesn't last forever. It's impossible.
It is impossible, and I think one of the just to piggyback on that, the currency of human bodies is something that I
Mm,
thought of, like the currency of entertainment in the entertainment industry of people, right? Like
yeah,
you're hot for a second. We can name 10 starlets that fit into this mold that we
yeah.
don't talk about anymore, right? Demi Moore was one of them at some point, right? And and do they continue to work, right? And how frustrating is that? And what's her name? She played Mommy Dearest. Who's that actress?
Oh,
Faye Dunaway.
Faye
Did you see
Dunaway.
that funny Faye Dunaway documentary?
I didn't, but I love Mommy Dearest, and she came and spoke at my high school. I'll
Did
never
she?
forget. And she was a fucking real, she was a tough bitch.
Yes. But also, she got a lot of shit for that. But I understand why she had to be a tough bitch because this
Hmm.
industry tries to chew you up. She's also a
Hmm.
little, I think she's bipolar. So this is not me, she talks about being bipolar in the documentary. So I don't mean to be pejorative, but like she's also like an actress who wears a heart on her sleeve, who's like a little kooky, right? On top of
Hmm.
the bipolar stuff. So I get that like people were kind of like found her abrasive, but as a woman, and I'm sure you could speak to this too, as a woman you have to be like, no, I'm creating space for myself because you're trying to
Hmm.
chew me up and throw me out and I'm not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
And she notoriously was someone who was able to transition her career as an actress of a mature age, but she
Mm.
fought, to your point, she really fought to stay in the spotlight because our industry is not kind to women who age versus a man. You allowed to get old and gray. The men get older and their love interests get
Oh,
younger and younger and
it's
younger.
crazy.
Yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about, just in terms of themes, was self hatred, because we talked about how, Sue goes out and she becomes this starlet, and then Elizabeth becomes a recluse. Lizzie just like
Yeah.
stays at home, and and slowly just starts to deteriorate. Not only because, but even before, Sue takes more time, and I was like, wow, this is a metaphor for self hatred. The idea at one point in class, Lizzie decides to go out on a date with a guy that she ran into from high school, and he's probably not her of the same, in the same caliber as her, and she decides to go out with him, but she's unable to go out with him because she doesn't look like Sue, or she doesn't like the way she looks. And like, it
Yeah.
was just a really beautiful montage of self-hatred,
Yeah, and it was really sad because, for me, it was so layered that Demi Moore is playing this character, considering Demi Moore has done some stuff to her face. And she looks
Mm-hmm.
great now, but there was a moment where it was a little uncanny valley, like she had
Yes.
done too much. And
Yes.
so I really felt like this was a commentary on her personal experience, right? Where you start
Mm,
picking out one thing and then you see another thing, because in
mm,
that scene that you're referring to, she's going out on this date and she's changing little things about herself in order to get
yeah.
ready. And then she keeps running back to the house and being like, I'm going to change. She takes all of her makeup off and then she tries it over again. And then she's like, oh, and then she takes it off again. And then she's just over and over and over seeing little things wrong with herself. And it's heartbreaking, but it also is very relatable.
Yeah.
You can look like Demi Moore and still think I need to change things about myself, and unfortunately that is a universal experience for way too many women.
God, that is, and that's the thesis of the film. That is like one of the
Yeah.
many theses of the film. What surprised you, Fran?
Oh, I was surprised by how graphic it was. My
Mm.
friends told me, but I was, when that weird, I don't know what, that alien looking brain. I mean, the fact that Demi Moore is
Monstroso
the
Elazu.
monster with Demi's face and the boob and the like eyeballs everywhere. I mean, talk about special effects. I mean,
Ooh.
just incredible. I was not expecting that at all. Um, I also just thought visually it was so stunning. The colors, the
Mm.
sets, the clothing, the way that it was shot. I mean, even when Sue is teaching the workout class, the way
Hmm.
that the workout is framed and the moves that they're doing, it's just so fun and it keeps your attention, and it just, from start to finish, I was so engaged. Didn't pick up the phone one time.
And that's saying a lot, class. Yo.
What
Yeah.
surprised you?
I similarly, I wrote down in my, as you're taking notes, I take notes as I'm watching the film for the pod. I was like, at one point I said, I have no notes. This is great. I kept writing, this is great. I really liked the style, the production, the
Yeah.
editing, the visual. I said that it was like a Hitchcock film in terms of
Yes.
like its suspense and like its horrorness or psychological thrillerness. It's like a Hitchcock film meets a Wes Anderson film meets Death Becomes Her. you
And
know?
you know what I would also add in there? Oh, it's a little Twilight Zoney. You
Yeah,
know, like in
totally.
Twilight Zone, you always want a thing and you get the thing and you realize, oh fuck, I should not have done. It's like an allegory for
Totally.
you can't always get what you want, and when you do get it, you're like, fuck, I should have stayed exactly the way I was. I regret this.
It's so true. And like as an audience member, as a viewer, you know that that's coming. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can tell from like I was going to say downbeat, which means like just the beginning. You can tell
Yeah.
from jump that it's going to go that way. The other thing what surprised me is the nudity. Right? We talked
Mm.
about a little bit about this, but like I won't say I'm proud of Demi Moore, but I was like, yo, it was just awesome to see her living in all her glory. But the way that they used the unity of Demi and the newer version with Margaret Qualley, the way that Margaret Qualley's character Sue looks at her body and is like I
In
wrote down in my
love.
notes, I was like, did a man write this? I hope a man didn't write this because it's like just shots of her butt, looking at
Mm-hmm.
her butt, feeling her
Mm-hmm.
body over and over again. And again, to you, like you said earlier, it wasn't just nudity for the sake of nudity. It was like, oh no, this is purposeful to show you the difference between these two things and how obsessed this character can be.
Yeah.
Meaning also you can be us,
Yeah.
right? With their body. So I was really surprised by that. And it was very, very effective.
Well, something that also surprised me about Margaret getting naked, those were some fake titties.
They
Those
were
were
they
those
were
were
prosthetics.
those were a prosthetic titty. And you know what I said? I'm not mad because I was looking at them and I was like, those are perfect. Those
They're stunning. They're
are a
stunning
perfect
breasts.
tit. And I was like, no, this is not, you a Nepo baby and you got perfect titties? That's not right.
It ain't right.
That's
Well, you know
not
what's
right.
also crazy is that like I know that like saggy boob is a thing as women get
Mhm.
older, but I'm like it's just not fair to have really nice breasts and then
Just
like to
perfect.
not feel comfortable about your breasts when you get older. Like that's also like
Yeah.
a really sad tragedy that gravity does that
Well,
to you.
it's all, the thing that I've been trying to hold on to as I've been aging, and I've got all this gray in my hair, and I am really just embracing the fact like, yeah, I look different than I did 10 years ago. That's inevitable. Is that aging is a privilege that not everybody gets to become old.
Talk
Some
about it.
people are crystallized at one age for all of eternity, and they
Yeah.
don't get to have, life experiences. And that, I'm really at a place right now, and this kind of relates to the film, of like, all this punishing your body for what? And I feel like that's the moment that Elizabeth Sparkle has when she realizes, I took for granted that at 50 years old, I had a banging ass body. And
Stupid.
now here I am looking like fucking Gollum because I did all of this and didn't appreciate. If she had just stayed where she was at, she still has like 20, maybe even 30 good years. I've seen some 80-year-olds who look fucking banging.
Yeah, and also like, to your point, I know that we're a youth obsessed culture. That's what the film's about. But like, also, what about creating space, as Demi Moore is? It feels like, for a conversation around bodies being beautiful, no matter what their age, no matter what their size, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say this on the allegory of it. Listen, Elizabeth Sparkle, I would have canceled that bitch after my finger was fucked up. After the index finger was fucked up, I'd have been like,
worn
it's
gloves.
done.
You could have made gloves into your whole thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Girl, no. What do you feel like worked?
Oh, I think it all worked. I loved the music. I loved the styling. I loved the casting. I thought top to toe, it was fantastic. I mean, I really struggled to have notes for this, honestly. What about you? What worked?
One of the things I loved the most, and it was kind of deceptive, is that at the beginning of the film, it's just the shot of them making a Lizzie star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, whatever that is. And you know how like before a movie, especially with indie movies, there's so many producers and distributors, and they all have their like little graphic, and you're just watching them. It was like I was duped, because I was like, oh, this is another producer or in whatever studio that has their little graphic video going. But then when the movie started and they put her name up, and then they had, it's an aerial shot, and that does not move for like minutes, maybe like 5 minutes. You see
as
them create
people
the
are
star.
people are walking
And it's a beautiful exhibition of like time passing. So you see Lizzie Starr with all the photographers. Oh my God, you're Hollywood Walk of Fame, so congratulations. And then, like Fran was saying, people are walking, the seasons change, it snows on it, and then like somebody drops food on it.
Yeah, like a burger.
Yeah. And you're like, oh shit, you see how she's becoming some quote unquote has been. Yeah. And then we get to her, and it's her 50th birthday. It was really, really good storytelling.
Beautiful metaphor. Metaphor. All right. So what didn't work for you, Delon?
I mean, this gets a little to my fix. The ending just like took no notes, right? I really loved this film. I really, really did. But the ending was just like, oh, so much blood. So much blood. It was just a little too much, but I get the point. It was for us, it was a multitude of things, right? The grotesqueness of the blood was meant for us to feel something. And like I said, the idea that everyone's complicit in what happened to this character, us people watching the film as well, but that was just like a little too much, just because I was like freaking out about it. But did you think anything? What didn't work for you?
Yeah, I mean, that part definitely grossed me out. But I think this is a rare time where like I genuinely have no notes. I just
cute.
And even when it comes to the fix, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. So I'm not gonna share too much. But I think this film was flawless. I have not seen a movie like this that left me just like thinking. The minute the film was over, I was just sitting on my couch like shell shocked. Like, I cannot believe that I just experienced all of that. And it really stuck with me.
That's a great endorsement.
Yeah.
So do you want to jump to some of the fun facts about the film?
Sure. Maybe? Let's do it.
So Dennis Quaid, who played the shitty producer of Elizabeth and Sue's exercise shows, was originally supposed to be played by Ray Liotta, but he passed in 2022 and he had to be recast. I think that was actually really great recasting.
Yeah, I can totally see Ray Liotta playing this part. I
Right?
mean, it's great casting. So up until the film's debut at the Cannes Film Festival in 2024, Demi Moore wasn't sure if the film would be successful. She is quoted with saying that it would either really work and be a part of the cultural shift or be a fucking disaster. I can see why she would
I
think that.
understand
This
that.
movie is very campy.
Yeah.
It's very over the top. And when she got the Golden Globe, I saw a lot of chatter online from people saying that everyone's going to share their opinion, but there's not a ton of dialogue in this movie. This
Hmm.
is a movie where there's a lot of like quiet, and doesn't mean that things aren't happening, but
Right.
like you are acting. And if that's not the kind of movie that you're into, coupled with the fact that it's a body horror and it's very stylized, I could see why some people might feel like, okay, this is trying way too hard. But I really felt like it worked.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like you take risks, or if you're willing to take risks and fail, like you can strike gold, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like and one of the things you just said, like this, it's crossing genres, it's very campy, it has humor, it's visually a really stunning. It does takes a lot of risks visually, fisheye lenses and
Mm-hmm.
really symmetrical things that make us feel uncomfortable, so I see where Demi was coming from too, but I think I'm all about taking risks. Theater does this a
Yeah.
lot. Film is a lot more money. But one of the other things that I thought was interesting is that none of this was shot in Los Angeles, despite it taking place in Los Angeles. It was all
Yeah.
shot in France.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. And truly, the director, Coraline Farget, who won Best Screenplay at Cannes, wanted to use practical effects, prosthetics, and makeup instead of pushing for cheaper digital effects. And I really think that it made a difference.
It
And
really
that
did.
this is a film that will stand the test of time, because usually when you use those CGI, in a year or 2 years, it looks like shit. It looks
That's
like
actually
shit.
really well said, friend. I was at a bar the other day and they were playing Star Wars, and I've
Mm-hmm.
tried to watch Star Wars, but I fell asleep. I'm gonna try it again at some point. But they've updated the film with like
Mm-hmm.
enhancements or 4K
Mastering. Yeah.
mastering, whatever it is. But because everything is practical, it looks very cool. I had to ask the person I was with. I was like, "Is that Star Wars? It looks like it was shot today." That is
Yep.
really crazy.
Yeah. I mean, look, I will say when we talked about Waterworld, for example, a lot of it still looks, and the movie's
Yeah,
not good, but all of the practical stuff looks really good. Another good example, Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park looks
yeah,
fucking good.
it really
And
does.
when we talked about dinosaurs, the practical
Yes,
effects cost more money and are more time consuming, but it's well worth it.
it really is. And the artistry is beautiful. In this film, the prosthetic application took anywhere from 45 minutes to 7 hours,
Mm,
leaving at some days only leaving a few hours to shoot actual footage, right, for the
yeah.
film, which is crazy. And Fran mentioned that Margaret Qualley's breasts weren't real, but girl, they look good.
Yeah, I would love to request just one, just the right one, just so that I could just even myself out.
Just balance it out for her.
All right, now that we've gone over the substance, it's time for us to fix it. Delon, is it okay if I go first?
Absolutely.
All right, so like I said, I really have no notes for this film, but what I would love to see is the substance expanded into like its own little franchise, almost like a Tales from the
Ooh,
Crypt style, where we
love.
see different people who've taken the substance. Because when she goes to the diner and she sees an old man and he's like,
Yes.
"Did you take it?" I want to
Yeah.
know the story of the guy that she met at the hospital, for
Yeah.
example. Other actors? Does she become a cautionary tale for others? Who are the people that work at the substance? Like, how did
Mm-hmm.
they discover this technology? Like, are they all using it? How long can you use this? Like,
Yes.
if they didn't go beyond the 7-day rule, would Sue get older? Would Sue stay that same age forever? Like, I just have so many questions,
I
and
have those questions too.
I would just love to see. This is the type of thing that I could see turn into an amazing limited series on HBO
Yes,
or
very
on
Westworld.
FX.
Yes.
I feel like it's very Westworld, very FX. Because it kind of has like the Atlanta dark surrealist vibe
Hmm.
to it, and I would love to see. how the substance is tackled with a man. I think kind of tackling masculinity and the patriarchy, I think
Yes.
could be really, really interesting.
Because we also have that body dysmorphia thing too. Let me tell you right now. Yeah, I had
And
the
we
same
don't talk
questions.
about it really.
We don't. Well, because like to talk about it means being vulnerable, and being vulnerable
Yes.
means, you know, you're not a man if you're
Mm-hmm.
crying, you know.
Yeah.
I had the same question about like who created the substance, but like when she first started taking it, I was like, because she had to go back and continue to get more a re-up of refills of
Mm-hmm.
like the liquid stabilizer. I was like, what happens if the person, because she never met them, what happens
Yeah.
when they go away, if they go away? You're just
Yeah.
fucked then?
And also, like, you are really trusting that whoever is behind this, like, they could extort you. Like, once you paid for it and then you're in, they could be like, you know what? Actually, now we want $2 million if you want to keep
Wow.
doing it. And it's like, you have to pay it. Otherwise, you're fucked, right? Like,
Right.
who are these people? You can't go to the police. Like, I think the movie did a really good job of setting up the world and the rules of the world. And I was in, I don't see any holes, but there are so many questions. And to me,
Hmm.
that is ripe for exploration
That's
in
a
another
good
film.
piece of art when you're asking questions
Hmm.
and talking about it after. The other thing I want to say in relation to um just like body dysmorphia or plastic surgery, right? There's a lot. The question about you don't know who that is and you're trusting them, like
Yep.
all of those women, all those people who went and got butt injections and they were putting cement in your ass for BBLs. All
And
I
people
mean,
dying.
the idea that like not for nothing, but you're going to get lip filler and like do you even know what that is?
No,
Like, I don't know what that is,
no.
right? But like, I also think it makes me question. We're all just blindly doing this, but for what? For like momentary beauty, for
Yeah.
a decade of a big booty. I don't know.
Risking your life for
Yeah,
your body to look quote unquote better, and it's the temporary fix of it all. Because when I think about, like, look, do what you want to do with your body. I
it's
think,
yours.
if it's going to make you happy, if it makes you
I was just about to say
happy.
it. Couldn't be that
Great song.
bad.
Shout out
Yes.
to Sheryl Crow. You know what I think about? I'm like, do you really want to be an 80-year-old grandma with a donk ass?
Girl, you can't even carry that. Can you carry it around,
No,
girl?
no, absolutely not. It's all
You know,
heavy.
I was just gonna sing something from Dreamgirls, but no one would get the reference. Heavy, heavy. Um, the I saw this thing. This is a little bit of a detour, but so go with me here. I saw this thing on socials last night before I went to bed. Never, well, starting socials at midnight, Delon. Now it's
Yeah.
12:45. Ready? But this guy was saying, I'm going to bastardize it, but he said, the idea that we are striving for something all the time,
Hmm.
right? Once I get that house, once I get that job, once I get that BBL, I
Hmm.
will be X. I will feel better. And he's like, and the fucked up psychology of it is that like you're capable of feeling better right now. But what capitalism does and what forward thinking does makes you believe that like the feeling you're chasing after the feeling that thing's going to give you, but
Yeah.
then it's just a cycle in that you're going to need the next feeling, the next thing to get you that
If
feeling.
you don't fix the shit that's going on that's causing the feelings, you're never gonna find the happiness.
And you're capable of the happiness right now. That's what
Yeah.
I took away. It's like, I could do that for me right now without the house and the thing. And I was like, that's such a powerful position, you know?
Mm.
Anyway,
What's your fix?
my fix is like similar to you. I think it's a great film. The only thing that I would add to it would be I want to see maybe a little bit more of a repercussions from going in and out of the cycle, right? So 7 days
Hmm.
on, 7 days off for each of the characters. I wonder if like do they start losing memory, right? Do
Mm.
they what is it that affects it, like an Alzheimer type thing? I thought
Yeah.
that would be something I would add. Um, they start having the dreams of like the organs falling out of her back or the chicken thing in her butt or whatever, and I was like, more of that delusion that could come up
Yeah.
might be something that's additive, but beyond that, like I was like, this is great. This is great. I love your fix about seeing more of it because I would devour it. I would gobble this series up.
Oh, 1000%. And I'm really glad that we did this film because it's just nice to have something that we're so like revved up about versus some of these past episodes. We've been like, oh God.
Help me, Jesus. But we also have too many damn opinions. Okay, now that we have delved in and tried to fix the substance, we're going to take a little quick break before we come back with our favorite segment, the glow up. We'll be right back. And we're back. Fran, do you mind if I go for the glow up?
Sure, please do.
Okay. So we have a glow up that we've done on the episode. We've had a glow on, which you gave to Joy Reid. We've had a stay up, right? So those who have never really let their star hasn't sunsetted.
Yeah.
The star hasn't sunset. You get what I'm saying?
Their star has never faded.
Faded. Thank you very much.
He's a teacher.
I'm gonna do a glow back.
Ooh. What does that mean?
So what does glow back? It's somebody who like had a huge career that I personally didn't really know of the details of, but was such a huge bright moment that I think it's valuable to talk about it. So we're just exiting Women's History Month, and I was watching this documentary, I think it was on Prime, called like Women in History or something. And they're like our episodes where they talk about Grace Kelly and you know, other people, but one of them is Josephine Baker. Do you remember watching the Josephine Baker story? Do you ever watch that growing up?
Oh my God, yes. Josephine was that girl.
Yo, I mean, the things I didn't know about Josephine Baker, right? She became famous at 19. 19, she moved to Paris. She was the first Black millionaire.
Yeah.
First Black millionaire, right? In 1930s, you know? She was unknown in America. She was a huge star over there and unknown in America.
They was not fucking with us here. And she said, I'm going to go.
Right. Well, it was also happenstance. She just got a job. They saw her do, I think they saw her do something in New York and in vaudeville. And then they were like, hey, come to the Moulin Rouge or whatever the version of that was. It was like next to the Moulin Rouge anyway. And they just, like, you know, it was also, it's racial and the stereotypes of what they thought Black people were. She's not African, but they thought she was from the depths of Africa, you know, and she said, I'm going to take this all the way to the bank. But sorry, I think my mic's a little wonky. But I just I didn't know those things. Like I knew the stuff, like she had a bunch of kids, she adopted a bunch of kids, and she kind of,
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. She adopted like 12 kids because her thing, I mean, the racial not being accepted in America and being a huge star in Europe, I think it sounds like it was very difficult for her. Every time she came back here, she couldn't sell out places like she was doing in Europe. People kind of knew who she was, but again, like you said, they weren't fucking with us. So even up north, they were like, who is this woman out here, taking up space and speaking with a French accent, you know, like, who do you think you are? There's a place for you, you know? So I think that was really difficult for her. And one of the things this documentary talks about is that she wanted to create a tribe, a safe space to show that everyone can get along no matter where they were from. So she adopted kids from Africa, from Finland, from Asia, and like she had a big tribe. But she wasn't good with money. And so she, at the end of at one point in her life, she had to like give up her kids at some point. She was penniless, but talking about Grace Kelly came in and helped her out. And that's how she got back on her feet. And she was about to burst onto the American stage, meaning like people were really starting to accept her and being like, oh, she's an icon. They love her. And then she passed away in her sleep.
Wow.
I mean,
that's incredible.
I know.
I think there was a film about her life, right?
The Josephine Baker story with Lynn.
I didn't see it. Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn Whitfield. Yep.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put that on our list.
We should, because growing up, we watched it several times, but I only remember the kids. I think it was like a made for TV movie, you know, one of those things.
I don't remember anything about it, but I can see Lynn Whitfield in my mind wearing the little banana outfit, and that's all I can remember.
I tell you what, Josephine Baker knew how to find a husband, because the two men that she married, fine. God damn. I was like, wow.
And you know what? That is a real testament. If you can be fine in any decade, because sometimes you'll see they're like, oh, she was beautiful. And then you see the photo and you're like, nah, know. I don't see it. That must be some 20s fine. You know, like it's a different era. The looks were just different.
Right.
But if you have a classic face and you still look fine today.
Two of them motherfuckers. She had two husbands, I think, and I was like, "Girl, you better get it. You better get both of them." So go ahead, go back on Josephine Baker, y'all. If you have Prime, I think it's on Prime. It's worth the hour to invest in her story. It's really beautiful and also tragic, but I really enjoyed it. What's your glow up?
My glow up goes to Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco. I truly have had no real serious feelings about Selena Gomez. And if you listen to our episode on Amelia Perez, I have many thoughts on her singing and acting abilities. But she and Benny have come out with this joint album. Again, I'm not a big fan of her music.
Are they dating?
They are dating. They're engaged.
Okay.
And so they came out this joint album, and they've been doing all this press together. And I gotta say, I really like them together. And I feel like Selena is having a glow up in that, you know, she had a really messy relationship with Justin Timberlake. And
Did
his
she?
Delon.
Girl, you know.
I stay in white people's business. Why do I know all this stuff?
You really do. I mean, bitch, you're basically People Magazine, okay?
Why? Again, don't know my bank routing number, but I know all this fucking drama. Oh yeah, her and Justin had a very tumultuous relationship. You know, Justin's doing drugs, and he just has a lot of issues.
Is this before he married what's her name?
Oh yes, Hailey. Yes, he dated Selena before Hailey Bieber.
You said Justin Timberlake, girl. You mean Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber. Oh,
I was
sorry.
so confused. I was like, isn't he married to what's her name?
Oh no, sorry. Justin Bieber. I'm just my brain.
All the white Justins, you know.
All the white Justins. And to be fair, white Justins singing black people music.
Talk about
it. Y'all come from the same cloth. Okay. Exactly. So she dated Justin Bieber, and they had a rough patch, and his fans are really awful to her, have been awful to her. And Hailey Bieber now, formerly Hailey Baldwin, she's been terrible to Selena. And, you know, Selena had a kidney transplant. She has lupus. She's had all these health issues and whatever. And now she's dating this Benny Blanco guy, and they're engaged. And he is in love with that woman. I mean,
he better be, because he won the prize. Shit.
But you know what? But that's why I like them together. He is just like, when they're in these interviews, the way he talks about her, it's like, I get it. I get why they're together. And he's also very talented. He has written every fucking hit pop song you can think about. And somehow I went down the TikTok rabbit hole, and I started watching all these videos of him talking about his songwriting process. And I was just so impressed. And again, I've never really had any deep feelings about Selena Gomez, but I could imagine that somebody at her stature in her career, she started as a child star, you know, she's got a very successful makeup line, she's got a lot of money. It's hard to date in that stratosphere. And now she's met somebody who has his own lane. He's very accomplished as a musician. He is very supportive of her. And I don't know, I'm really rooting for them. I don't disappoint me, Benny. Wow. Because I just sat here and gassed you up. Well, One thing a man will do.
You ain't never lied, bitch.
Embarrass you as soon as you say something positive about them.
Right. You know, but also, like, it goes, their relationship goes to that Rihanna thing. She said this on an Oprah interview. Her grandmother told her, be with somebody that loves you a little bit more than you love them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they treat you right. They love you down.
Yeah. And he does have that energy of like, I could lose her at any moment. And I'm not trying to fuck this up. And it's just, she seems really happy. I'm not really into the music, but
that they created together, you mean?
Yeah, I just don't really like her as a musician. I just think her voice is kind of boring. And dare I say, one note, no pun intended. So it's not my thing. But again, like, it seems like he is pushing her to try some new things. She's kind of had some songs that sound a little 80s synth,
Okay.
just trying different stuff. And I like that for her. I just think that I just like them together. I don't know. It just feels right.
Go ahead. Well, listen, glow up. I'm all about love.
Yes.
For someone who's out here trying to find it. So yes,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
So,
class, yeah. So, class, we want to hear from you. Would you take the substance?
would you let a younger version of you crawl out your damn back? Because that's
And
crazy.
traipse around the city wreaking havoc? Or maybe you would like to suggest a TV show, a celeb, or a brand that we should fix in a future episode. Hit us up on Instagram at FixItPod or email us lemmefixitpod@gmail.com.
Also, just one more time, we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@fixitpod. Episodes up every week. These faces, unedited, stumbling, all the things. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give us a rating on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app. I am DeLon.
And I am Francesca. And this was
Let me
Fix It.